Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com and the Big Four Accounting Firms YouTube channel. In today's podcast, I wanted to talk about taxes, and more specifically, tax season and tax season in the United States. I wanted to discuss when tax season is. Tax season, especially in the Big Four, but just generally, is basically all year round, depending on the type of filer that you are. And you can look at IRS Publication 509 for all the statutory due dates in 2020, but a lot of this has changed because of the coronavirus. So when does tax season start? If you're a calendar year filer, tax season starts every year on January 1st. But when does the IRS start accepting returns? They started accepting returns on January 27th of this year. And so what tax season are we in? Well, if you look at the IRS's website, they'll say that we're in the 2020 tax season, which is true if you're paying estimated taxes, but that doesn't mean you should be filing your 2020 federal income tax return. All that means is that 2020 is the tax year for when you pay your estimated taxes. So if you are filing your tax return, you are most likely filing it for the past year, which means we are currently filing in the 2019 tax year. And the 2019 tax year ended on December 31st, 2019. And you can file your return anytime after January 1st as long as the IRS is accepting returns and it's not past the deadline. So let's get into the various deadlines. For individuals, file the Form 1040. And the IRS says that this is due on the 15th day of the fourth month after the tax year. And what this means is your personal tax return is normally due on April 15th, 2020. But due to COVID-19, this has been delayed by 90 days, and now your return will be due on July 15th of 2020. And you can extend your return as well, but in order to extend your return, you need to file Form 4868. But you still need to pay your taxes. But this 90-day delay also allows you to delay the payment of your taxes, so it's basically a free extension. Now let's get into partnerships. Partnership returns are due on the 15th day of the third month after the partnership's tax year. And this was due before the announcements were made. So I'm not really sure if they delayed the partnership thing. I doubt they did, but you could check the IRS website for that one. And the partnership form is 1065. And S corporations, the S corporation returns are also due on the 15th day of the third month after the S corporation's tax year. The weekend this year, the tax returns are due on March 16th. And one note about partnerships, they have to file the 1065, but they also have to provide Schedule Ks to their investors or their partners. Now let's go into corporations. For corporations, tax returns are due on the 15th day of the fourth month after the end of their tax year. This is similar to individuals. And this was also extended due to COVID-19. And this was also extended to July 15th. And corporations don't have to pay taxes until July 15th or file their return. And this is no doubt changing what a lot of the Big Four accounting firms are doing. And the Big Four accounting firms will also be factoring in the losses that are going to be happening in 2020 when helping their clients out with their tax returns. So that's just something to make note of. And the estimated tax due dates for 2020 are April 15th for Q1, but this has been extended. And Q2 is due June 15th, 2020. Q3 is due September 15th, 2020. And Q4 is due December 15th, 2020. So those are like for the quarterly payments for the whole year. And if you have specific questions, make sure to get an accountant or check out TurboTax or whatever software you're using. I don't think you should necessarily delay filing your tax return unless you owe a lot of money or you just owe money in general. It might be favorable to save that money up. But if you're going to get a refund, number one, if you're getting a refund, you don't really have to file your return because the IRS doesn't really care about paying you back. So if you're due money back from the government, you shouldn't look at filing your tax return as a burden. You should look at it as something that you do as early as possible. You should get it in as early as possible so that you can get that money. Find out more tax and accounting information. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Big Four Accounting Firms. Thanks for listening.